Hello everybody and welcome! A year ago I did sold my Ford Focus MK2 Facelift. I initially bought that car as a stopgap, but it turned out to be such a good car I kept it for nearly 4 years. But then with the growth of the family and so on, I felt the need to get a bigger car. So I went and bought this Renault Scenic 3. It was bigger, spacious, versatile, practical, comfortable, quiet and good of feel. But then, although I had the good feeling about that car initially, the more I drove it, the more I felt it was not the car for me. I just simply could not gel with it. So after a few months I sold it. I bought this 2007 Vauxhall Astra 1.8 design. Lovely engine, very nice, punchy. Actually quite a well-built car. It turned out to be much better than I was expecting. I didn't expect it to be a bad car, let's face it. I do actually really like it. Nice interior and so on, despite some ergonomics not making really much sense. It has been a really good stopgap. But I was still longing for that driving dynamic that I had on the Focus, and indeed before that I had on BMWs that I owned years ago. I really did consider going back to BMWs, but for me BMW has to be 6-cylinder petrols. Diesels are not really my kind of car of choice, but then considering the running costs and so on, I decided that I should get a Focus Estate. But my experience in searching for cars hasn't been really that good. I do have a lot of constraints during my personal and work life. I don't really have the time to look at cars during the week. Weekends are for other things, other commitments, family life most of all. But then 2 weeks ago I saw a car for sale only 10 minutes away from me that really caught my eye.
And here it is!
No, it's not an estate, it is actually a hatchback. But there were a few things that make me go for this car, and I'm going to go through them now. So when I saw this ad, there was quite a few things that caught my eye on this car. First, it was the price. We'll get onto that in just a moment. It is a car that had service history, it had a brand new MOT, it also was owned by the same family for many years, and also came with roof bars, which in certain occasions can actually help on practicality and make up for the fact that this car isn't an estate. And I actually do keep the roof bars in the boot. The other one was the engine. It is the 1.6, but the ti-vct with 116 horsepower, and you do really notice a difference compared to the normal 1.6. And there is something else. I made an offer for this car and I bought it for just £550. I think it was actually a pretty decent deal, considering that you don't really get many cars these days for around the £500 mark with an MOT and have been decently maintained. Of course, for £550 you have to consider that this car is 19 years old and it has one or two faults. So the couple of faults that were described by the previous owner was the power steering. It was a little bit stiff when it came to parking or very slow speeds, but after a few flushes and so on, it's cured. The fluid was pretty black, but there will be a video about that pretty soon. And the second one was the aircon. It simply was not working. But £60 later, and regas, it is as cold as Alaska. And of course there is bodywork. There are the usual odd scrapes and marks and so on, and the most obvious is this one here, but hopefully a PDR job will be able to sort that one out. And just going around here you can see that the Ford badge is missing, something that I will be able to sort out at some point. But everything else, it does seem to be pretty straight for a car of this age. There is a little bit of rust at the bottom, but everything else, it is pretty much straight and mark free, really, no more dents, and at the bottom is actually in good shape. The wheels could do just a quick clean and polish and so on, but it's actually pretty good shape. In terms of the interior, the car just needed a little bit of a clean and hoover and so on. The rear seats are really clean, and in the front it's actually not too bad. And let's face it, the car has 147,000 miles, so really can't expect much better than this for a car of this mileage. But the best of all, I think, it is this Sony unit. It does really give a cracking sound, and it's not really just the head unit, but also the tweeters, which you can also see here at the back. It really has the upgraded sound system that you would see on the normal gear models. And here it is, the mighty power plant. The engine bay just needs a little bit of a clean, but it is actually a good, honest car, and it does start up very well and very smoothly. And there you go. It was a car that I wasn't expecting to buy a couple of weeks ago. I was really considering an estate, but given what was on offer, I think it was something that I could not possibly let go. I did look at a few cars during my search. Unresponsive sellers, some also had a bit of an attitude when asked for details about the car, and also due to my lack of availability made that the search was a little bit limited. Maybe you could say that if I waited a little bit longer, maybe I could get my car, but honestly, for this price and for what car it is, I think I simply could not go wrong with it. How long am I going to keep it for? Well, I don't really know, but I really like it, and I'm quite happy to be back in a Focus again. Of course, this means that the Astra is now going to be for sale very soon. I just have to do a few jobs in it before being ready for sale. But yeah, very glad to be back in a Focus. And also, a lot of people have been asking about the Focus content and so on. I thought this is also a good reason for me to buy it, drive a car that I really like, and help others, hopefully, with some maintenance videos. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.